Hey everyone, this is Wade Franson. I'm the host of Created in the Image of God. I'm here with a very special guest today in the studio to record a sneak peek of episode 115, which will air on the 10th of September. It's Michael Bahry, who has twin master's degrees in early church history and biblical studies from Providence College. Early on, he questioned the idea of a God that would have a hell to send people and torture them forever. We're going to learn about how Michael Bahry arrived at different ideas around hell. Welcome to the studio, Michael.
Thank you for having me, Wade. I'm honored.
So what was the genesis of your questioning of traditional church doctrine around the idea of an ever-burning hellfire?
Well, I think it started very young when I was just a boy, and we were taught that, if we missed Mass on Sunday on purpose and we didn't make it to confession, we could end up in hell. Or if someone's baby wasn't baptized on time by a priest, that they would be in hell. So my thoughts about it started very young, but later in life, it really became an issue for me teaching adult formation for receiving confirmation in the Catholic Church. I had to teach a class, and in the class there were, there were doctrines, and there were things said about hell that I really had a difficult time understanding. And since through both master's degrees, it really never came up much, I decided to do the thesis for the second master's degree in biblical studies on the notion of hell. And the title was Hell and the Savior of the World, which I kind of saw as an ironic pair, I called it another time when I spoke to someone an oxymoron, kind of like military intelligence. The two things together didn't really make much sense. So.
Well, and I'm sure all of us at one point or another in our lives have experienced some cognitive dissonance or emotional dissonance around the idea of a loving God who would nonetheless oversee at some level a place of eternal torment. But not everyone scratches that itch. So what was it like when you began actually studying into the texts? What were the feelings associated with finding evidence that your concern was in fact true and that the Bible did not support those ideas?
I think some people, when they get into that, their faith goes down. For me, it was like, okay, now this is good news. This is where before it didn't seem like that good of news, especially to the masses, right? That weren't either a baptized Catholic or a born again Christian. To me, it was just exciting. And the more I found out, the more I was elated by it. So for me, it was, being unshackled, and it was wonderful.
Well, you know what? And I'm going to just leave it right there for the sneak peek, because I think that's an amazing soundbite. You actually found that the truth was a lot better news than the traditional good news about being saved from a hellfire, right? And
Yeah.
the good news, the gospel itself, was clarified by your study of the Bible. Is that accurate? Is that fair?
That's absolutely true.
So that's wonderful. We'll dive into that in full depth for an hour on the show. Guests know that we love to dive into those topics. We'll learn a little bit more about your background, your studies, and your conclusions. So on September 10th, 8 p.m. Central Time for episode 115, tune in and learn more from Michael Bahry and the truth about hell.